Okay. Okay. So in the last class we started with this constraint randomization. So in the last class we already seen. So randomization means what? Randomly it will give the values. So that is a randomization. So constraint randomization means what? That's a set of rules. Set of rules we already seen in the last class, that constraint randomization. So where we are seen means randomization. One second. Okay. Okay, advanced hoops and randomization. So if you see here, we already seen the constraint randomization. This is here we are already seen. Okay, so that means so this is so to achieve this, so with some rules, so we need to generate these random values. That is nothing but constraint randomization. Okay, so that we will discuss today. Okay, so constraint randomization. So yeah, so what is constraints? Constraints are nothing but a set of rules which we are going to apply such a way that randomization is not happening blindly. Okay, so randomization happens in a meaningful way. That is nothing but we call as the constraints. Okay, so we are going to randomly apply the test cases, no. So there are two types of test cases we already discussed, like directed stimulus. So that means you are giving some values, that is directed stimulus, and randomized constraints means with some conditions we need to give. Okay, so so what are these constraints? So we'll see the constraints. Okay, constraints. Okay, so constraints these are the nothing but we can call these are conditions or restrictions. Okay, conditions or restrictions which are applied for generating a meaningful data, for generating a meaningful data, okay. So like suppose if you consider, like we already seen the case, no, like that last case we already seen. So what is that case? That means here we see in this rand bit and 2 down to 0 a. Okay, so if you have the range 0 to 8, okay, 0 to 8, so these are randomly generated. Okay, so 0 to 8 these are randomly generated. Randomly generated. Okay, so randomly generated. But if you want to, if you want a condition, suppose example, like if you want a condition, example, my range is my range is from 0 to 3. Okay, my range should be from 0 to 3. Okay, so this is my condition. Okay, so or like I want to generate a condition, so generate the random values less than. So what is my condition? Condition is generate my random values. So condition is so generate random values, generate random values less than 4. Okay, less than 4. Okay, so we'll see the syntax. Okay, so what is this syntax? We'll see. So syntax is so randomized constrained randomization. Okay, so if you see the syntax, so syntax will be like this. Let us take constraint, and you have the identifier, and next you have constraint expression, followed by some square bracket. Okay, semicolon will be inside. Semicolon will be inside. Okay, semicolon will be inside. Okay, so example, so if you see example, rand Okay, rand we already seen, no, randomization. Okay, randomization cyclic and randomization. This is rand keyword. Okay, this is randomization. Rand bit 2 down to 0, 2 down to 0 a. Okay, so I'm using like constraint range, constraint range. A is what, less than 4. I want to generate a random sequence that is A is less than 4. Okay, so we'll see one program related to this. Okay, so if you see this, so this example 1. So if you see, so I'm giving a class test and rand bit 2:0 a end class. Okay, module TB. Like I'm writing a handle t underscore h initial begin, and with this handle I'm writing a new function t underscore h equal to new, and repeat. So repeat for 4 times. Okay, one second. Repeat for 4 times. This is randomized, no? So this is randomized function. Okay, so one second. Constraints only. Okay, so this is my randomized function. Okay, so randomly, so t underscore h dot randomize, I want to display t underscore h dot a. Okay, it end, and this one, so initial begin, so this begin you need to end again, this initial begin you need to end, and end module. Okay, so this you want to execute. Okay, so I'm executing in EDA playground. So if you see EDA playground, so when you execute this, this is the test bench. In the test bench I'm writing. So when you execute this, so here you are getting what values. That means t underscore h dot randomize equal to, so that means repeat for 4 times. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 4 random values it is generating. Okay, so this is randomize we already seen. Okay, randomize we already seen. Okay, and next if you see the example 2. Okay, so example 2. So if you see this, so here I want to like this one I'm using a constraint. Okay, so if you see this class test rand bit 2 down to 0, so this is 3 bit. So I'm using a constraint. Okay, constraint, what is the range? So the syntax we already seen, no? So constraint, and my constraint, my identifier is what, range. Okay, my identifier is range, and within the flower bracket I am giving a less than 3. Okay, a less than 3 and semicolon and end class. Okay, and module TB, and this is the handle, and initial begin I am creating the object. Okay, with this new function, and repeating for 4 times, and I'm displaying. Okay, so this one I want to execute. Okay, so if you want to execute, so just copy this, and if you see in the EDA playground, run this. So I'm getting the values. So that means what is constraint? Constraint is nothing but condition. I given one condition, that is constraint range. So what is the range? A should be less than 3 only. Okay, A should be less than 3 means what? It is executing the values between 0 and 3 only. Okay, between the 0 and 3 only. Okay, this is nothing but my constraint range. Okay, so this is my constraint range. With some conditions I am giving the values. Okay, so this is this is nothing but one example, and third example we'll see. Third example, if you see this third example, so this one is this one is nothing but, if you want to execute the range between frame where to where means a greater than 3 and a less than 7. Okay, same program, just I change the range. Okay, so previously which range I given in the example 2, that is a is less than 3 only, but in this I gave the range, that is a is greater than 3 and a is less than 7. Okay, what values it will execute, we'll see. Okay, so what values it will execute? So it will be executed between the values between 3 and 7. So 3 and 7, okay, randomly it will be executing. So the value should be what? So here t underscore h dot a, the value should be between 3 and 7 only. Okay, so that means I am giving a condition such a way that the value should be executed between this range only. Okay, suppose suppose if I want to execute the values like even numbers are there. Suppose a modulus of 2, that is equal to 0, whether we'll see it is working or not. Okay, so it should execute some random values that should be even values. See here. Okay, it is executing, that means a modulus 2, that is equal to 0. So that means what is this meaning? That means a is divided by, so a is divided by 2, you should get the remainder 0. So what are those values? So those are the so repeat for 4 times. No, 4 times I am executing this. So 4 values I am executing, and which condition I am giving? I need to execute the even numbers. Okay, so when I am executing even numbers, it randomly it is executing 6 4 2 4, like that it is executing. Okay, so if I want to execute odd numbers, okay, here I need to give reminder as 1. Okay, so if you run this code, so I am getting the values randomly, 4 values I am getting. T underscore h dot a, that is 7535. Okay, 7535, these are the values randomly generated. These are the odd values. Okay, so like this you can generate even values, odd values, and conditions. Okay, conditions like that you can generate also. Okay, suppose if I want to generate some a greater than 10. Okay, a greater than 10, if you run this code, it will execute the values more than, I think, so why it is you are getting 0? The range of what 3 bit is from 0 to 7 only, no? So when I am trying to execute more than 10, okay, that's why you are getting 0 only. Okay, so less than 7 means it will execute. Okay, less than 7 means you will get the values. Okay, why? Because the range is from 0 to 1 so 0 to 7 only you given the 3 bits. Okay, so if you run this code, I'm getting the values, I will get the values. Less than 7 means I will get the values. Okay, so like this I can generate randomly. Okay, and next example 4, if you see, what is this example 4? Okay, next is a rand mode. Okay, what is this rand mode? We'll see. Okay, rand mode. Yeah. Okay, rand mode. So rand mode is yeah, rand mode. Okay, so rand mode is this is used, so using this method we can control the control to perform randomization or not. Okay, so here using this rand mode, using this method. Okay, this method we can control. Okay, we can control to perform randomization or not. Randomization or not. Okay, so like so here the syntax will be like this. So like hand dat dot rand underscore mode if it is 0. Okay, if it is 0, so this is what this turn off the randomization. Okay, this turn off the randomization. And suppose this is handle. Okay, not handle dot rand underscore mode, if this is 1. Okay, so here what you are doing, you are turning on the randomization. Okay, turning on the randomization. Okay, so we'll see some examples related to this. This is example 4, if you see. So here if you see, second, This is example 4. Same thing I did. Okay. Yes, this is example 4. So class test rand bit 2 down to 0 a. So constraint. So constraint, what is the range? Range I given a less than 3 end class. Okay. So that means I wrote the class and I given the constraint range. So module TB. So this is the handle. And first what I am doing in the within the initial begin block. So what I am doing, t underscore h equal to new, I am creating the object. After that, so first what I am doing, first what I will do means here I will execute this. Okay, just t underscore h. Okay, t underscore h dot random and rand underscore mode 0. Okay, if it is 0 means what, you are turning off the randomization. Okay, so this I am commenting, and I want to repeat this, and I am displaying this. I am calling this randomize function. So just I want to see this whether this code is working or not. So if you execute this, so copy and paste in this and then run this. So see here, so that means t underscore h dot a is what, so that means all you have got 0. Okay, so 0 means here I given a function, this is a mode rand underscore mode, that is that t underscore h dot rand underscore mode equal to 0. Okay, so mode equal to 0 means what, you are turning off the randomization. Okay, you are turning off the randomization. Suppose if you want to turn on, okay, so just this one, comment this, and I need to make what t underscore h dot rand underscore mode equal to what, 1. Okay, so when you run this code, so that means you are turning on the randomization. So randomization you got. Okay, so you got the values within the range 0 to less than 3 means you are getting the values 0 1 2 randomly you are getting. Okay, randomly you are getting. Okay, so like that. Okay, so this is nothing but rand mode. Okay, so rand mode. Okay, and next is constraint mode. Okay, so what is this constraint mode, we will see. So constraint mode. So constraint mode, yeah, constraint mode. So constraint mode is so this is going to control the constraints. Okay, so constraint mode, this is going to control the constraints, okay, going to control the constraints. Okay, so what is the syntax for this? Syntax is whatever the handle you are using. Okay, so that means handle dot constraint underscore mode, okay, if it is 0. Okay, so if it is 0 means what, it will be turned off, okay, handle dot constraint underscore mode, if it is 1, it will be turned on, okay, turn on. Okay, so this is nothing but constraint mode. Okay, so we'll see the constraint mode with respect to example. So we already seen the example 4 now. So example 5 we'll see. Example 5, so if you select, so I'm increasing the font size. So see here, so that means so first class, so this is class test, and this is the property rand bit 2 down to 0 a, and constraint range, so a is greater than 3 and a is less than 5, and end class. Okay, so I want to a is greater than 3 and a is less than 5 means it should be between 3 and 5, it should execute. Okay, end class and module tb test underscore test t underscore h initial begin, I'm making this object. Okay, and I'm using this handle. Okay, so this is handle and this is the object t underscore this is handle dot what is this rand underscore mode equal to what, I'm making this as 1. Okay, this is randomization, and after that what I am doing, t underscore h dot constraint underscore mode 1 I am making. Okay, so just I am checking, it will be repeated for 4 times, and t underscore h dot randomize, this is the function I am calling, and I am displaying for 4 times. Okay, so I will check whether what we are getting. Okay, so just to copy this, I'll see in the EDA playground. Just so I'm getting 4. So that means, yeah, so that means here, so constraint mode is nothing but it is going to control the constraints. Okay, it is going to control the constraints. Okay, suppose like if I give some a greater than 3. Okay, so what values will get? 6. Yeah, so a greater than 3 means I am getting some 7, 6, 5, 6, like that I am getting. Okay, and suppose if I keep t underscore h dot constraint underscore mode is 0, and this is commenting. I am commenting this and I am running this code. So I will see what I am getting this output. So constraint, so I'm getting means, so I'm not getting so I'm getting 6, 5, 3, 4. It means randomly I'm getting. Okay, so I'm not getting in a controlled way, just randomly I'm getting. So if you want to get in controlled way, so you need to use this constraint underscore mode. Okay, and next is inline. Next one is inline constraints. Okay, what are these inline constraints? We'll see. Okay, so inline constraints. Inline constraints. Inline constraints. Okay, these are applied when we are calling the randomized method. Okay, so these are applied. I'll write here. Okay, these are applied when we are calling randomized method. Randomized method is nothing but, we already seen, no, method is nothing but function. Okay, so you are calling a randomized method. Okay, so the syntax will be like this: handle dot randomize. This is the bracket with a greater than 3 and semicolon, and semicolon inside the flower bracket and outside the flower bracket. Okay, so so that means when we are calling this so this randomizer method, okay, when we are calling this, it will return a value. Okay, so when you are calling this randomizer method, it will return a value either 1 or 0. Okay, it will return a value. Okay, so this handle randomize, it will return some value. Okay, it will return the value. So what is that value? So that means here if randomization is success, okay, so it will return 1. Okay, it return 1 if randomization, okay, randomization is success. Okay, and if it will return 0, it will randomization is not success. Okay, so this is nothing but inline function. Okay, so this is nothing but inline function. We'll see one example with respect to inline function. Okay, see here, example 6. So this is the inline function. So what I did here, you see. So yes, so class test, so rand bit 2 down to 0a and end class. Okay, module tb and test, this is the handle, initial begin and creating the object. After that this is what this is t underscore h dot rand mode 1. Okay, mode 1 I am doing, and first whether I am checking my inline function, this is randomization is success or not. Okay, so t underscore h dot constraint mode is 1 means what, it will execute, no, so that means it will execute. Okay, we'll see. So repeat for 4 times, and I am using t underscore h dot randomize. Okay, so randomize with the handle. Okay, what is this with the t underscore h dot a greater than 3 and t underscore h dot a less than 5. Okay, this is inline constraints. Okay, inline constraints I wrote. Okay, so this is the handle dot randomize. What is my handle? T underscore h dot randomizer and bracket. Okay, with and square bracket open and my condition. Okay, what is my condition? T underscore h dot a is greater than 3 and t underscore h dot a is less than 5. Okay, and dollar display, I want to display this value end and end module. Okay, so I want to execute this. Okay, so if you want to execute, just copy this and save in this EDA playground. So just run this. Okay, so t underscore h dot a is I got 4. Okay, I got so that means I got means t underscore h dot a is what, all 4s I got. Okay, suppose t underscore h dot rand underscore mode I am giving as what, suppose if I am giving 0. Okay, so I will run this, whether my randomization is happening or not, we will see. Okay, see here. So when I kept 1, I got that means randomization is success. I am getting some 4 value. Okay, and suppose here I wrote this t underscore h dot random mode equal to 0 means what, it will not perform any randomization. So that means it is executing that t underscore h dot a is what, 0. Okay, so that means if randomization is success, it will execute, like it will display 1. If randomization is not success, it will display 0. Okay, this is inline constraints. Okay, inline constraints. Okay, and so these constraints we can write with inheritance also. Okay, so we can use with inheritance also. Inheritance, I think you remembered, that means inheritance is nothing but you have like parent class, child class, and those things you have, like. Okay, so that we can work with these constraints. Okay, so that means inheritance with the constraints. Okay, inheritance with constraints. So what are these inheritance with constraints, we'll see. Okay, so if you see inheritance with constraints, suppose example, if you take like class parent class. Okay, parent class parent, and I'm using rand int a, so constraint. Okay, constraints range, this range here I am giving a greater than 0. Okay, a greater than 0 and end class. Okay, so I need to means I need to inherit the child class from the parent class. Okay, so how you need to inherit, that means you need to use a keyword called extends, no? So that means a class. Okay, so I wrote the parent class. Okay, parent class object, after that class child underscore class extends. Okay, and so that means parent. So that means I'm inheriting the parent class to the child class. Okay, after that constraint. Okay, c underscore range. This range is a greater than 3. Let us take a greater than 3. Okay, end class. Okay, end class. Okay, like this we can declare the constraints in parent and child class. So that means here so that means whatever the constraints are there, that will be declared both in parent class as well as child class. Okay, both in, so we can declare these constraints, whatever the constraints both in parent class as well as child class. Okay, so we'll see one example about this inheritance with respect to this constraints. Okay, so here so example 7 I wrote, so this is example 7. uh, this is mode 0. So whatever I explained, that is mode 0 only. So one second, mode 1. So one more, that is success is there. Okay, one more thing, that is success. One more success is there. Okay, success is nothing but here I wrote here what I did means, in previous program I initialized this in the module tb test t underscore h int success. Okay, int success. Initial begin, so t underscore h, this is the object, and t underscore h dot random mode 1. Okay, and this is a constraint. Okay, this condition, and I'm executing success. So this function success equal to t underscore h dot randomize with this is inline function I'm writing, and here what I am doing means dollar display t underscore h dot a is percentage d, success is percentage d, t underscore h dot a are success. Okay, so means whether my randomization is happening or not means I want to execute if success what value I am getting the success. Okay, so just I want to see this. Okay, this is related to success. Okay, I want to see this in the EDA playground. If I am running, so I am getting what randomization is happening. Okay, so t underscore h dot a is 4 is that success is 1. Okay, it is executing 1 means what success is 1 only. So you are getting random values. So that means what are the random values you are getting? So that means from a greater than 3 and less than 5 is 4 only. No, so 4 only you will get. You are getting like that. So otherwise you can give the randomize suppose you can give a less than 3 also. Okay, a less than 3 means what? If you run this, okay, if you run this, you will getting the values between the 0 to a less than 3, 0 to 2. Okay, you are getting the values between 0 to 2, and my randomization is success. Okay, success you are getting what 1. Okay, suppose here I am giving t underscore h dot random mode is 0, and I am commenting this. And when I am running this, see here. So, one second. So t underscore h dot a, and this also constraints also mode value. I am giving this constraints. I am commenting this. Mode is 0. Okay, mode is 0 means what I am getting. So t underscore h is 0 and success is 1. Success is 1 I am getting. Okay. Suppose if I take if I give this, okay, I am getting some random mode means random values and success is 1. So randomization is happening means you are getting the success value as 1. Okay, success value is 1. Okay, so like this, randomization is happening means you are getting success. Okay, success is 1. Randomization is not happening means you are getting success equal to 0. Okay, this is one example. And if you see the example with respect to this inheritance, this is a program related to inheritance. Okay, so if you see the class test rand bit 2 down to 0a, and constraints. Okay, range means what? I want to execute only even values. Okay, so range is from, this is a 3 bit, this is will execute from 0 to 7 only, so only even values will be executed. Okay, end class. And how I'm inheriting the parent class from to the child class. I need to use this one, class child underscore class. I need to use a keyword called extends. I need to use a keyword called extends. Okay, test. Okay, extends test. Okay, so constraints c underscore range is what? So in the child class I need to execute only odd values. Okay, in the parent class I need to execute even values, and in the child class I need to execute odd values. Okay, so module tb test t underscore h child underscore class, this is the handle. So this is the handle, t underscore h is for a handle, and for child class also I'm writing one more handle. Okay, int success. Okay, and here initial begin, I need to write for the object for this t underscore h object, and child also I need to write the object. Okay, and t underscore h dot rand mode, so enabling the randomization. Okay, and this is constraints. Okay, and enabling or disabling the constraints. Okay, so repeat for 4 times. Okay, so repeat for 4 times, and success equal to this condition. Okay, t underscore h dot, this is inline function, randomize with a greater than 3 or less than 5. Okay, only 4 is possible. Okay, if success, display this value. Okay, display t underscore h dot even greater than 3 or less than 5 is this is success, else this one will be executed. Okay, and success equal to c underscore h dot randomize. If success, it will execute this. Okay, c underscore h dot a odd values, else randomize failed, like that it will execute. Okay, so this is like both. So whether I'm checking either parent class is working or child class is working, I'm choosing. Okay, I'm checking with this program. Okay, so whether which one is working, we'll see. Okay, so here if you execute this, if you run this, yeah, so that means t underscore h dot a is 4, success is 1. Okay, so from here both the child class and parent class is working. Okay, both child class and parent class is working. Okay, so like this we can see the um, see this one. Okay, and one more concept is nothing but conflict. Okay, conflict means what? Suppose example, in this conflict there will be a conflict. Okay, so what is this constraints with conflicts? Constraints with conflict, with conflict. So what is this constraint with conflicts means? Suppose like example, if you take parent class. Okay, parent, if you use a parent, constraint 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 parent. So what is this parent? Parent is a greater than 3. Okay, parent is a greater than 3, and suppose if you are giving for child, constraint constraint child a less than 3. Okay, a less than 3. Okay, so that means here is there any value between a greater than 3 and a less than 3? No value, no. So that means two are conflicting with each other. Two are conflicting with each other. There is no value between a greater than b and a less than so a less than 3. Okay, so two are conflicting with each other. Okay, so here sometimes if you execute this program, sometimes you are getting warning also, but when you are executing this program in the compilers like Quasta sim, you are getting error. Okay, you are getting error. Okay, so so to avoid that error, you need to use, to avoid this conflict, you need to use a keyword called soft. You need to use a keyword called soft. So what is this keyword? This keyword this is for avoiding the conflict between the constraints. Conflict between the constraints. Okay, so this is the keyword you need to use to avoid the conflicting between the constraints. Okay, so this is nothing but randomized constraints. Okay, so that means randomization we already seen. Randomization means what? Randomly they are generating the values, but constraints are nothing but which with some conditions or restrictions we need to apply, or we need to generate a meaningful data. That is nothing but constraints. Okay, so in the we are using these constraints in the randomization of this one. That's why we call as randomization constraints. Okay, so in this you have like this is the syntax for randomization constraint, and you have rand mode. Okay, so in order to like switch on or switch off the randomization, we are using rand mode. If it is 0, it is turned off, and if it is 1, it is turned on. And constraint mode also, this is going to control the constraints. Okay, so this is constraint mode. And inline constraints, Inline constraints are nothing but we can write in the methods, okay, randomized methods. You can write the inline constraints, okay. And next is inheritance with constraints. So we can write we can use these constraints related to the OOPS concept. We already seen, no, we have parent class, child class. So their parent class I wrote, and after that I'm inheriting the properties of parent class to the child class by using extents. And here I am writing for constraint for the child also. So here both will work, okay, both parent class and child class will work, okay. And constraint with conflict means this if you are giving some conditions such a way that the values will, you are not getting any random values, suppose a greater than 3 or a greater than 10 and a less than 5 also, okay, that also conflict, okay. So means if you are running this program in EDA playground, you are getting some warning only. When you are running in the Quasta sim or like that some tool related things, you are getting error. You, in order to overcome that error, you are using this soft keyboard, okay. So this is about constraints, okay. 1 second.